Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Ava Rose Kinard with the horror film Pollen, which is available on AppleTV+. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I mean, it's pretty crazy because you film a movie and you wait and everything and people are able to see it now. Has it hit you that it's finally out?
I don't think so, if I'm being honest. The anticipation, because we shot a year ago. And so, yeah, I don't think it's hit me yet. Not quite.
It's pretty crazy. I kind of feel like audition stories are interesting, Ava, because I feel like each one's different. Sometimes you know a lot about what you signed up for. Sometimes you don't know much, and then you get the role, then you know everything. What was the audition process like for Pollen specifically?
Yeah, absolutely. So I auditioned May of 2022, and then I didn't hear back until around July 2nd, I think. And I got an email. It was like, hey, can we have a call back with you? And for a second, I was like, wait, what is this? Because it was so long in between. And so, yeah, I got on the call back and they were like, so we're shooting in 4 days. Do you think you can do this? And I was like, absolutely, I'm ready. And so, yeah, I memorized the script and then we shot.
So it was quick.
It was super quick, yeah.
Because sometimes it's the opposite of quick.
Right. Normally, sometimes it's a really long time, but yeah, it was super quick.
It's crazy too because, you know, I'm a big believer, Ava, like you want to go into things fresh. And going into Pollen fresh is crazy. Just a little bit. What can you tell me about Pollen and your character without giving too much away specifically?
Okay. Yes. So Pollen is a psychological thriller / horror film, and it follows the journey of my character. She gets assaulted at the beginning of the movie in the workplace, and so it follows her mental journey with that, and then a tree monster, which is a metaphor for the assault, torments her. And so it kind of just follows my craziness and how it escalates.
And it's one of those films where this is like an important film because there's a lot of like messages and addressing a lot of important topics.
Yeah,
so it's like when you audition for this and you're reading the script, is it evident that not only this is not just like a horror movie, this is like an important movie?
Yeah, absolutely. And the director is also the writer, and he did an incredible job. It was one of those things like when you even just the sides with the two things I auditioned for, it's like, okay, wow, I can tell that this is an incredible message, an incredible film told so well. And so it was an honor to be able to do it.
100%. And it's so well done. And it does have a lot of scary kind of scary moments in it. Did it feel scary filming some of the moments, or are you in the zone and you're not thinking about that?
Yeah, that was actually kind of a challenge I was looking forward to going into it because I've never really done horror, and it depended. It was funny because like I know that it's Mike in the tree costume, and so it's a little hard to dissociate, but the challenge of that as an actor and mentally putting yourself in a situation where it might not be as scary on set was challenging and great. So yeah, it was scary. Yeah.
It's interesting too because what is your mindset like before filming? Like we talked about the audition process, you're confirmed you're going to be in Pollen. Is it kind of one of those like just soaking it all in? Are there like a lot of nerves because it's a big, like we said, it's a big movie. There's a lot of like important things that happen in this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. So since I only had like a 4-day window, I locked myself in my house and I started with reading the script as many times as I could. And I broke down each scene and I got on some Zoom calls. And so, it was just kind of mentally getting into that headspace and rehearsing with my scene partner. And and then on set, taking a few minutes before to kind of like get into that headspace.
Totally. And, you know, there's so much amazing stuff happening in the like horror movie like genre right now and the thriller genre. And they've always been around, but they're like very popular now. So what's it
Yeah.
like kind of working on a horror movie at a time where there's such a big appetite for a lot of that content, Ava?
Yeah, it was awesome. I had never been a huge horror fan prior to this. But like I said, there was always a curiosity there of like, is this like scary on set versus like watching it and how it's come together? So yeah, it was an honor. It was super fun, definitely eye-opening, and now horror has become like one of my favorite genres.
The
So,
craziest thing is I'll interview a lot of people. Like I love horror movies and I love
yeah,
talking
we're
about horror
super
movies.
about it.
Yeah, but I find it so interesting too because I will interview people that are in some of the scariest horror movies I've ever seen. And then like the actor tells me like they're not a fan of horror movies, that they're too scared. And I find that the craziest thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I guess there is that separation. It's work, right? At the end of the day.
Right.
But like, that is kind of funny, isn't it?
Yeah, it is funny. Yeah.
What are some, or have you kind of, so let me ask you this then. So was your interest in horror more like after you wrapped, or like even while you were filming, were you watching a few horror movies?
Yeah, it was definitely more like while I was filming, because getting to see kind of the like behind the scenes of it and all that stuff, there's such like an art to it. And it's so mapped out and so planned. And so there's almost that like creativity like thing going in my brain of like, wow, like these are super complex, like important stories, I guess you could say, to tell. So yeah, now I have like a newfound interest in horror.
What are some like what are some horror movies you've watched that like you were like really into lately?
Yeah, Babadook,
Yeah.
which was so scary. But I kind of loved it. And then also Midsummer,
Yep.
which was also kind of like Pollen in the sense of like it's a psychological thriller as well as kind of like a horror element. Yeah, I mean the art in that is just crazy. It's awesome.
There's so many movies like that. And I find it interesting too because, you know, when you wrap a movie, I feel like there's a lot of things going through your mind. Was this because we talked about the fact that at the end of the day, this is very important subject matter. It's very tough subject matter with what happens to your character. So when you wrapped, was it very kind of emotional where you needed a break and you needed kind of like to like just take some time for yourself? Or were you like, I'm ready for the next project? Like, because that depends on the project, right? But what was the mindset like when you wrapped Pollen?
Yeah, it was definitely, so it was 10 consecutive days of shooting.
Okay.
And so I kind of tried to kind of live in that character's mindset a little bit. I went a little bit method, not totally, but so after the shoot, it definitely like I felt it. I felt the heaviness of it, and then you kind of have to like snap yourself out of it because you don't want to walk around doing that. And so as an actor, you kind of have to like figure out your notches and when to turn them on and off. But it was honestly at the end of the shoot just super rewarding. I mean, the cast and crew were amazing, and so it was definitely just like an amazing moment of like we did this thing, we did it in 10 days. So yeah.
When they get a chance to watch Pollen, what are you hoping they'll get out of it takeaway wise?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the main thing would be the important message. And I mean, yeah, like that's what connected me so much with the film is just I feel like sometimes you read sides and you let them go, or you're told as an actor to forget things. But this, after I read the sides and the material, it was hard to forget.
Yep.
And so there was something in me saying like, this is such an important story to be told. And so I guess just kind of take care of your people, be kinder to people. If you have a voice, use it. And yeah.
And they can find the film now on Apple TV Plus. They can watch it, which is amazing. Ava, so great chatting with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Chatting with you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, yeah. So Pollen available Apple TV Plus. Your Instagram account, where can people keep up to date with everything?
Yeah, so it's Ava, AVA, Rose, Rose, and then K.
Awesome. Well, this has been Pop Alternative, youtube.com/PopTernative. Previous episodes. Until next time, it's Ava Rose Kinard, who stars in Pollen, available now on Apple TV Plus, and PD Beats, signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Pop Alternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.